Hi. That might have been too loud. Sorry. Here. We're doing it. We're live. Writer's Room. Episode 2, because we started with 0. It's just me in the opening. No, define the line intro or anything. Just gonna do the big pitch meeting episode. What's up to everyone watching in the chat? Go ahead and say what's up. Get your voices out there. Shout out to anyone watching in Instagram. What's up, Define the Line Pod? I see you. There's a crazy delay, but I see you. I'm trying to do a double stream, literally 2 computers streaming at once, so there might be a lot of me whipping around this episode, but I wanted to get as many opinions on these pitches as I can, so I figured what a better episode than now than to try and do a double stream. Full double stream. So, Instagram, you're down there. Twitch is up here. If you're tuning in for a second on Instagram and you're like, what the fuck is going on? I want to talk. I want to see the real full stream. Head over to twitch.com/creepyforsale. Twitch.tv/creepyforsale. And check out the main stream. Got a big pitch coming up. I'm going to wait for Junior to hop in later. But we're going to start like we always do with some Crimson Ghost. This is episode 4. Let's catch up anyone who hasn't seen. So, we started off, Crimson Ghost found out about some sort of EMP-style device called a cyclotron. He kidnapped the guy who made the cyclotron, and then some guy named Richards, who's obviously the inspiration for Reed Richards, went with him willingly to avoid people being killed and or something. And then instead of making the cyclotron, he booby-trapped a death ray, which then he ended up dying in because he wanted to save another guy. I'm really losing steam on this serial. But, alright, let's start watching. I'll wait for people to hop in the streams. Let's do it. Such epic music for not much happening.
The Crimson Ghost is still at large, but at least I prevented him from obtaining a supply of heavy water with which to operate the cyclotron.
That's very fortunate.
Very fortunate.
In criminal hands, the cyclotron would be a terrible weapon, capable of paralyzing the industry of the entire country.
Yes, but the Crimson Ghost still has the cyclotron. We have no idea as to his identity. Have you any plans?
None that look very promising. But I did receive an anonymous phone call asking me to pick up a message about the Crimson Ghost this afternoon.
Oh. Well, are you going to do it?
Why, yes, of course. Gentlemen, that's all the information I have for now.
At least that's something to work on.
Diana, I'd like you to drive me.
Certainly, Professor. Whenever you're ready. What's this all about?
Just a little
Hey,
scheme
what's up,
to prove
Bobby?
my theory that information about my plans and movements leaks from the conference room and reaches the Crimson Ghost. I've
Watch the
planted an
Crimson
envelope up in
Ghost.
the hills. We're going out to get it. I'm hoping some of the ghost crowd will get the news and try to follow us.
So that's it. Let's go.
How is middle of nowhere treating you? Feel free to comment on Instagram. I'll see it.
Okay, follow me.
Right.
The car we just passed is trailing us. Make the next left turn and head for Pelton Road. You hide behind the tree and cover me in case they try to rush us.
Okay.
It might be in and out, yeah. That's cool though. You excited for Easter? Are you gonna do an Easter egg hunt in the desert? What do you think of my like
And so I
weed
decided
cam
the
on
only place to keep
Instagram?
the heavy water was right here in our own vault. This bottle contains.
I wasn't sure where to put it because if I put it to the left, it's just the side view, and if I don't have a cord enough long enough to put it in front next to the other camera, so I was like, I'll just put it down there.
There, that's a good job done. Let's go.
God, so much of this fucking movie is just people in hats talking.
The game's up, Anderson. So, you're the mysterious Crimson Ghost.
Killian Anderson.
Killian.
You around?
Oh yes, it's me.
Ash, go in there. Get the water.
Get the water. Get the fucking water.
He's dead. Another victim of the Crimson Ghost.
He's dead. You killed him.
It's Ash.
You knew that taking the
Take out
thing
the
off
heavy
would kill him. Zoosh away. I guess I could change the
They're
perspective.
following us all right.
I could put it back over here.
Wait for me.
Here he comes.
You are very clever, Professor Richards, but not clever enough to cope with the Crimson Ghost.
Very
I
Dr.
knew
Doom.
that you thought that I was a member of the scientific group with whom you meet, and to increase that suspicion, I had Anderson captured and placed a control collar on him.
I see. So you murdered Anderson in order to get possession of the heavy water.
You killed Anderson when you broke the control collar.
This is like a
He would
completely
have been
different
valuable to me.
mask.
Now your own life is forfeit.
I guess he's doing like a Wizard of Oz style thing. Well, good thing this is from the 40s, so I think the video is fine, but... Maybe they're harsher with their camera streams because they know people get buck wild live versus like just a story. Because I feel like they let a lot of stuff through the story filters.
Quick, close the door.
Is the Crimson Ghost in there?
He was, but he escaped through a sliding door. We can't go in there until the place clears out. Then we'll search it for clues.
I wanted to see how long the delay will be.
The condenser in this device is a new and powerful type, manufactured only by the Brandon Electric Company. I phoned them and found that they'd sold several of these condensers to radio shops in this area. I have the list over here.
Oh, quite a number.
Yes, but I'm going to check on every one of them and see if I can find the man who built this.
The bottle you got wasn't heavy water. This is just plain ordinary water.
Of all the double-crossing...
We've been tricked by cleverness. Something
Tricked
to
by
be admired even in
cleverness.
an enemy. This means that the heavy water is still at Cornwall's Chemical Company. We'll get it tonight. Now, as soon as it's dark, I want you to go to Snyder's.
Snyder's. Motherfucking Snyder's. Call him Snyder's.
Hey, that's quite a piece of machinery.
Yeah, it'll open the best safe made. Too bad you'll never get a chance to use it.
What is happening? Why do they keep tricking each other and wearing
Smash
suits?
that gadget.
Smash it. Whoa. A backwards hammer throw. Come on, mustache scientist.
Let's get him in the chair.
Mustache scientist.
Put the stethoscope in the case while I tie him up. I'll be back for him as soon as we get the heavy water.
The heavy water. Science terms. Science stuff. Guys coming in and out of rooms.
Keep that up. If you get loose, I'll have the pleasure of shooting you.
Mind if I have a cigarette?
Not at all. Go ahead.
There's a case in my breast pocket.
Well, as long as you're going to furnish him, we might as well both have one.
That was easy. The old booby-trapped cigarette. Oh shit, there was a running saw right there. That was irresponsible. Even if it wasn't for the sake of this, I just wouldn't leave a saw. If you bump into that on accident. It's probably an unfortunate move.
Here's the electric stethoscope.
Good. Now I'll neutralize the high voltage in the fence.
No, both. There's no real good way to do this, but you get it.
When you get the heavy water, take it to Cole. He has a plane waiting at Gopher Flats. We'll fly the stuff to the mountain hideout. We'll store it there until we're ready to use it.
sure. That bolt was a cinch to open with this gadget.
You know, with that electric stethoscope and our cyclotrode, we ought to be able to crack any safe in the country.
How? How does that work? How does the science of any of this shit work? The thing is an EMP that can turn off motors and like just turn off any device, but like, how? They're abusing the willing suspension of disbelief. Abusing it. Drift.
Take off in a hurry.
The classic firing one bullet at a car. Oh, it worked. Holy shit. There was so much to process there. It was like fucking Fast and Furious. Whew. This is getting riveting by the episode. Definitely not totally losing steam on watching these Crimson Ghost things at the beginning of each of these. I don't want to watch this anymore. I guess I'll watch another chapter while we wait for Junior. Yeah, sure, why not? Ghost. You guys like my theme song?
When the fire broke out, I didn't have a chance in the world to save the heavy water.
Which means we must construct a plant to make our own heavy water.
Water.
And one of the basic ingredients in its manufacture is refined uranium.
Uranium? That's refined under strict government control.
It is. But nothing stands in the way of the Crimson Ghost.
Crimson Ghosts. Oh, another science word.
What's the layout?
A truckload of uranium, guarded by an armed escort, is being shipped to the Federal Atomic Plant by the Owl Creek Bridge.
And this guy's just
Yeah, I'm
full
on
of
hideout.
fucking side missions.
Simplify things. Now you plant the bomb on the bridge and use the cyclotron to set it off at a distance. As soon
Everything's
as
a
the escort gets
fucking
onto the
side
bridge.
mission with this guy.
Now stand by your radio and I'll call you if anything develops at the comfort.
Calling Ash. Calling Ash. Ash talking, go ahead.
Professor Richards is going to survey the landing strip
And then
area
every
by
time I say
plane.
Professor Richards,
This may
it's
bring
like
him close
you're
to your
literally
location.
talking about
If his plane
Mr.
discovers your truck,
Fantastic. Who else
you
could
may
you
have
be
to use the
saying?
cyclotron to bring it down.
Right. If any plane shows up, we'll take care of it.
Oh yeah, I'm wearing
Hart.
same suit. He's brown suit.
Set this up on the bridge and come back as soon
Black
as you're through.
suit.
Duncan. Diana calling Duncan.
Go ahead, Diana.
We'll have to knock him down.
There's a truck right below me, and it looks like...
Diana. Diana, what happened?
Not so fast, sister. As long as you dropped in, you might as well stay for a while. The uranium truck's almost due at the bridge. Lock her up in the car, and I'll pick you up as soon as we're finished with the truck.
Come on.
Guy running around some rocks. Who's who? White guy in suit 1 or white guy in suit 2? 2 white guys in suits. 2 white guys in suits. 2 white guys in suits. Oh, hi, Junior. White guys in suits. White guys in suits. White guys in suits. White guys in suits. Junior. I think he's having mic issues. Oh, you're muted. That would explain it. My boy is muted, so I will keep watching White Guys in Suits.
Thanks.
Duncan, the truck I told you about has a cyclotrode on it. They used it to crash my plane, and I heard Ash say something about a truckload of uranium due at the bridge.
Uranium? Bridge? There's only one bridge around here, Owl Creek. That leads to the Federal Atomic Plant.
Then they must be planning to wreck the truckload of uranium at the bridge. I saw Ash head back up the hill to his truck.
Come on. You grab my car. It's at the end of the road. Warn the truck. I'll take care of Ash. Okay, Ash. You, put your hands up. Come on, get them up. Higher. All right, Ash, turn off that cyclotron. You've played with it long enough.
It's like the slow and the boring. I was really hoping there would be like any kind of horror elements to this. It's just boring. It's become the slow and the boring. They end so abruptly. Dun, Here come the... Oh no, woman. Jump out. Dun, 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 dun. What? Roly polies. Do 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 do. No, woman. Run, woman. Go, woman. Oh, wrong people. Classic woman. Run. 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 There's guys in suits. Guys in suits. Guys in suits. Guys in suits. Guys in suits.
My face may be a bit on the grotesque side, my dear, but you'll get used to it. As soon as I put this collar on you, I'll have complete control of your action.
No. The lady.
I'm due at the university at 2 o'clock. As soon as she comes to, here's what I want you to do.
Hello, Duncan.
Where have you been?
Where are you been?
The dashboard short-circuited, so I knew I was within range of the cyclotrode. I jumped before the bridge exploded.
Smart girl. But that happened hours ago. Why didn't you call?
Tell him you were dazed and don't remember.
Sounds like Stewie.
I don't remember anything until I came to about an hour ago. There's nothing to worry about now.
Nothing except the Crimson Ghost and the cyclotrode. Fortunately, there's a way to nullify the power of the cyclotrode.
There is? Tell me about it, Duncan.
6 months ago, Professor Chambers and I developed a special isotron device to counteract the power of the cyclotrode in case it got in the wrong hands.
How do they say these like bullshit lines with so much confidence and authority?
Back upon itself and destroys it.
I can see how
It's impressive.
Yes, I couldn't get it any sooner. It took 6 months to grind it. They called this morning and said it was ready. Will you file these? I'll step in and tell the professors you're okay.
Hello.
Then I'm going over to the optical company and pick up the
I had to fix things, I'm sorry.
That's alright. I've totally like soured on this movie or these serials.
What's up?
I started
Let me
off
see.
so interested and now I'm like, I fucking hate him. I hate the
Oh, yeah?
face. Yeah. Everything is just like, oh, and then we have to do this because of this. And then we get it's all like side quest bullshit. It's annoying.
Ah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I get that.
This one's almost over.
You just saw
Finish
some
it.
monotonous bullshit.
It's more
Oh,
like,
shit.
imagine if you were like alive in the 40s and your version of Dragon Ball Z or whatever was it was like playing fucking or watching these serials that were boring as fuck, but you just strung them together because you wanted to see what happened.
Oh dear.
That's basically how it worked. Yeah. So
I'll give it a going over with this.
shit. But they're literally over in like 5 or 10 minutes, and it's like the next one. So like they weren't thinking about them long term. So when you watch them like back to back to back, they don't make any sense. Oh shit, he got him. Oh yeah, they just took over the woman. Whoa. What a cliffhanger. That was painful. Anywho. Let me pull up. Perfect. Oh shit. Junior's power shut off. So, I'm guessing he'll be right back. Let's just enjoy this cold apocalyptic winter while I see what's going on. This is relaxing though. So, my co-host who was just here a second ago, I was just talking to, his power went out like as soon as we were about to get into it. So, just told him to hop back in when he can. And I'm going to start like, what would I call this? I'm just dumping the ideas and getting them out there. Oh, shit, he sent me an audio. Let's see what he has to say. I should probably mute this. Let me see what he said. I'm seeing what my co-host is saying. We're gonna get started. He's mad. All right. I just had to tell Junior it's fine. Like, he can't control the power of this fucking place. He just missed. Dude, I'm pissed. In the Twitch chat. Yeah, it sucks. So, like, I'm not gonna... It's no big deal. I'm just gonna start pitching. I was really sick of watching Crimson Ghost no matter what, so... Yeah. Hop in either of the chats, anybody. It's alright. Don't... Just... breathe. I'm sure your power is going to be back in like 10 minutes. It's just probably like a fucking glitch because some idiot didn't calibrate it right or something. Like, there's no way they're going to leave you without power all fucking... They're not going to leave you without power for more than a little while, especially the medical center. So I'm sure you'll be fine. And you can jump in whenever you get a chance. But, all right, this first one. So I have my... I'm going to put up my little pitch board. Put this on top here. These are the 3 pitches that I am pitching. And basically my goal is to decide which one of these 3 I want to make my first feature. I've been like doing a lot of soul searching recently, and I've realized like the thing I want to do more than any other creative endeavor is make a feature. And I have so many ideas, and I don't know what to do with them all the time. So I figured this would be a great way to take 3 of my most attainable, easy to get like started on. Obviously, no matter which project we pick, there's going to be a shit ton of work. So obviously, anyone watching this who's interested in being a part of any of these projects, please, you're more than welcome to join. As soon as this stream ends, I'm going to make a little poll in my Discord for people to vote in. And I think this first pitch meeting is me getting the ideas out there. And then for the next few episodes, we can start to debate and champion which idea we like the most, or like which person likes the most. And then I want to hear everyone's arguments, everyone's takes. And then I think after that, we will just roll on one. I'm sorry I'm like... looking around all these screens like a maniac because I want to make sure no one's commenting. But yeah, so I want to sort of dive into these pitches and see what you guys think. I put them in no particular order on the poster, but I pulled up this barren, snowy wasteland because I want to talk about the first one, which is going to be this one here on top. It's called Red Wire. And you can see this guy with a PC on his back. And it's... Oh, hi. Hi, D. I'm pitching movies. I'm about to scratch my ear because I think it's on a delay on Instagram. But yeah, so this first one's Red Wire. It's sort of like Death Stranding meets Into the Wild is sort of how I was picturing it. I'm going to pull up my notes on this one. First one. Okay. Yeah, Into the Wild meets Death Stranding. So, a man with a large machine on his back wanders a wasteland searching for tech to assimilate into his sort of crab-like shell. So for this, hi. So for this one, it's sort of like, imagine this guy here, the guy you see up there with the big computer on his back. He sort of just wanders this post-industrial World War III world and collects, DVD players, scavenging power supplies and lasers or whatever from different analog technology from different computers. He's sort of like this, sort of like WALL-E, like a human WALL-E, but there's no sort of like, what I'm trying to say is like there's no sort of like hope for any kind of rebuilding. His goal is more just to like give himself a sense of purpose by preserving these machines which contain movies and TV and other bits of things that existed before the war, that he does this very like elaborate way of viewing. And the premise of this movie would be that he uses this machine to do basically everything. This machine on his back, it prints food, it cooks food, it can scan different things to see if they're edible. He can clean water. It's sort of like this whole shelter that he carries on his back. And when he's wandering around this not desert wasteland, but this like post-apocalyptic wasteland, his whole goal is to just sort of collect things to build to survive. You know what I mean? It's like a, how would I say it? Very somber movie. I think like if I were to make this, there'd be very little dialogue, and it'd be very like not the first Mad Max, maybe the Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome before he gets to the city, where it's just a lot of really isolated, lonely shots of not nothingness, but desolation. So the movie would have a very slow opening, and it would build and would show the world. After we sort of like establish the world of all of the what he does, what his purpose is, why he does all these things, he's attacked by another survivor, like scavengers, while he sleeps during the day. He wakes up and he fights with the scavenger, ends up knocking off her mask, realizing that she's female, and they have a moment where they're just sort of both like caught off guard because they're not used to seeing other survivors' faces. They haven't seen a lot of human faces that they're not familiar with in a long time, especially him. She sees her family and tribe that she lives with, so she's not as caught off guard as he is, but he hasn't seen a human face and he doesn't know. Could be years, probably longer. He doesn't put up a fight, lets her steal the water that she was trying to steal from him, and he tracks her movement. And after tracking her movement, he finds this tribe, this little like alcove of sort of like vulnerable people, women too old, and like women who can't take care of themselves, or older people, and probably not any kids, just because I can't imagine how the fuck a kid would survive this, but definitely like more vulnerable people that would need help and protection. So he sees their little enclave, and he sees that they have all of these things that could be served to clean water, or they could be served to provide like basic shelter, but they're not functioning because they're broken and the people there don't have the tools or the knowledge of how to fix them. So he begins, before speaking to anybody or making any communication, he starts to rebuild their stuff. He rebuilds their water filter. He builds their air filtration systems. He gives them really big improvements to their way of life, and they're able to actually live and survive in this fucked up world. And the woman who he tracked there is less wary of him, but still very much like suspicious because she's in charge of the safety of these people. So she's pretty wary of them until eventually, not too long after they both get there, they are sieged by marauders and other scavengers who don't have the same sort of kumbaya idealistic mentality of survival. They're very much like, people with resources, let's kill them and take it. And he goes out into the field by himself and meets this group of raiders, and he appears as if he is going to like sacrifice himself. And I'm thinking this would be like all part of the trailer and the opening premise. And instead he basically lays a trap for them where he offers them his machine. All they have to do is like come take it from him. And they come to take his stuff from him. And when they take it off his back and he's unencumbered, and they're encumbered by trying to both carry the machine because it's too heavy for one of them to carry. While the two of them are holding it, he hits a button embedded on his glove and two spikes go out, killing the raiders where they're holding it from. And we reveal that it was like a plan. He knew, like, he's encountered this situation before, and it's like a way to show that this guy is a really keen survivor. And he makes his way back to the camp, and the rest of the movie would be basically like these, sort of in a Mad Max sort of way, like these raiders making news of this guy who has the skills and resources, and it makes its way back to the raider like headquarters or colony. And the movie is Red Wire, that's the guy's name, trying to fix and protect these vulnerable group of people while this raider clan that he's made enemies of attack him and sort of threaten his existence. Anyways, that's basically the premise, and that's the gist for Red Wire. It would be a lot of like nature mixed with urban decay. It would be like beyond urban decay, so it would be sort of like a very monochromatic, not like fully black and white, but just very muted, almost like Russian. A lot of brutalist imagery, a lot of destroyed humanity, broken machines, broken monitors, broken cars, broken, effigies to capitalism, if you will. It would be a very like, I want to say like 70s. I'm trying to think of the movie I'm thinking of, but very much in the vein of like early 80s, late 70s, post-apocalyptic. Our world will destroy us, and then we'll be left picking through the scraps one day, is sort of the general premise. And then also it feeds into my desire for making things out of trash and making different sort of cool props. I did a test of this not too long ago where I made a backpack out of a full computer with duct tape and a backpack from Goodwill, and that was really fun. And it was more of a proof to see if I could do it, but I think knowing what I know now and knowing that duct tape doesn't hold forever, I think I would figure out better ways to make that work and make it work also in character for how the character would make that work, but either way, I'm pretty confident that I could make this movie with heavy costumes and heavy, not even heavy, it would just have to be really, really thought out location scouting to find the places that would build this world that I'm going for. So that's Red Wire. That's the premise that I'm going for with that one. It would be super. It's actually kind of good that I'm doing this pitch by myself here, because this whole movie would be like this very still life and what's the word I'm looking for? Like you're watching someone live this, like, it's almost like a nature documentary about post-human human is almost the vibe I'm going for. So that's Red Wire. That's like the premise for that one. I have some. I'm gonna have to pull up another one for my next premise of chemical warfare, but I did want to pull up some concept photos I made of this before I switch. So I'm going to open these up. If I can remember where I put them. I have a lot of files, guys, okay? Okay. You can kind of see me playing with these in the Instagram view, but I'm gonna have to add a window capture for this. Bear with me. Yeah, it's a bit much. OBS. A bit much. Muchacho. Alright, slide this over. Put that there. Bada bing, bada boom. Alright. Zoom in on here. There's a lot going on, okay? I don't have a producer. I'm also the producer on this. It's a lot of shit going on here. Alright, let me just... I hate seeing all the extra black, so I'm just going to crop in here real quick. Still waiting on Junior to see if he ends up making it. It's not perfect, but it'll do. It's a lot better. Okay, so these are some of the looks I was going for with this one. Another part of it would be this story originally, when I thought of it, was that he would have these really vivid nightmares about a woman engulfed in wires in a tank that was like giving him cryptic messages through his dreams. And the messages were about like finding community and salvation. It was supposed to be like sort of a religious analogy. I don't know if I would keep that as a premise, but if I could pull off the visual somehow, using let's face it, AI probably, but if I could find a way to do the effects for it, I might keep that as like a thing he could worship, or at the very least have like hallucinations of. It's just, yeah, here's an anime version of it. I really wanted it to just be a very like lonesome person, someone who's been through a fuck lot and have this like, I just really like the idea of a tech hermit. Yeah, like an analog hermit. The premise of it is just really interesting to me. I'm gonna switch Instagram so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Should flip it. I don't know if it will. Instagram takes a while. Thank you. The Instagram takes so long to switch. Okay, it switched. Alright, so yeah, just going through these photos. These are like the premises I've come up with. I feel like I could really build something like this. Just like bays and drives and old e-waste. I've been making a lot of art with e-waste. I think just like as a concept, I really like e-waste. I like the visuals of it, the aesthetics, the implications, the juxtaposition with greenery. I think like with clever location scouting, you can find a lot of parts of San Antonio with not a lot of work that could look like beautiful in this way. I've always had this fantasy of like planting a tree under a pile of e-waste and seeing if the e-waste would be engulfed by the tree and like picked up under the branches. I don't know why the AI always gives like dudes the weird front cleavage, but it does that sometimes. Tubes, get some Raspberry Pis, take apart a camcorder, like a boombox wrapped in fucking yoga mat. Like there's ways to do, I think, these props that are really like attainable, and that's the part that I'm really like keying in on. This like this vision is like all three of these movies have to be makeable, both like me as a prop person and me as a director and writer. Like I have to be able to actually conceive of these ideas and actually execute on them. I'm gonna text my sister back real quick. Give me a second, stream. So, here we go. Poor Junior, he's lost power. His phone probably died. My man's struggling. More PC props. I haven't, the prompts I was using had jackets just because I was picturing like a coat, but let's face it, if I shoot it here, it'll probably be more of a like a t-shirt vibe. This is the one I used for the what's it called? The picture in the prompt banner. But just like ripped t-shirts, easy strap, like all of these things are attainable. These are all props I can make today. And I can find a meadow that looks like this. So this is the thing that's really excites me about this in particular pitch and project, is that like it just has a lot of attainable things to it. The props are attainable, the locations aren't crazy. For a post-apocalyptic movie, you can sort of imply a lot of the gloom and doom. This is a cool one. It's like bamboo. Yeah, like I can take some fucking PC cases and weather them outside, spray them with the water hose and leave them outside for a day. Like I can do that. That's a thing that's not impossible. These aren't 800-hour renders. These are just know-how and knowing where to find the stuff that build things like this. This one kind of doesn't make sense, but you still get the idea. Like these are all things that are actually attainable. This is how I was picturing like waking up. Instead of it being a pile like this, I would imagine the machine has like feet and stuff, so he sets it down and then builds a shelter using the backpack as sort of a base. This is another concept. I imagine like when he interacts with other people, that people in this world hide their faces just out of necessity. So I imagine that in the areas that he's in that aren't habitable, he would have something like this, some kind of mask. More really interesting things that I could definitely make. Yeah, these are just, cool concept. I think this is the early stages when I was still just trying to get an idea of like what I wanted the character to look like. Yeah, so this is when I showed the picture of the god and saying like he had hallucinations and stuff. What I was imagining is he's sleeping in these sorts of situations, like little piles of discarded and broken things that he's salvaged, and he's waking up surrounded by all this garbage and having these sort of religious hallucinations about the woman in the tank. Some sketch versions. I like this one. So I haven't made any concepts of any of the characters. I was mostly focusing on the main one with this one. But just a lot of like not too far in the future tech, and also things scavenged from yeah. See, I love this imagery really speaks to me, but I think the movie would be a lot of this sort of imagery and juxtaposition with all the nature. Like I really do want to make it about like nature versus technology and man's role. I was like, imagine if I made a costume like this and got B-roll of this, I could make some really amazing techno hallucinations. I think this is when the vibe I started to hone in on what I wanted the look to be. Building a shelter like this would be feasible. Oh, this is the one I used for it looks like the other one. I just really like this look. I think these looks are really strong. They're striking. I think a whole movie could work off this. Look at that. It's so cool. I love that, like the building of something, like these kinds of really intricate details of props. I feel like I can put a lot of the junk that I'm suffocating under into good use. I could imagine like like imagine a guy walking around with a whole fucking server rack on his back. You know what I mean? Like how cool would that be? He's out in the world harvesting shit, finding broken cars and taking a headlamp or a fuse, just scavenging the broken world. just these, I don't know. I'm really torn on the jacket. I don't know why I made it such an important part of this concept art phase, but the jacket is really unnecessary. I could take it or leave it. The coat looks cooler. I'm not really like, I don't have a sold mask design yet. But you know, any of them, a lot of them are good. That's Red Wire. That's the one that I kicked around a lot with earlier this year, the end of last year. I was thinking about this idea a lot. I was subconsciously making props for it without realizing it. I think it's something I would like to make one day no matter what, but I don't know if it's the first one I should make. But I like it. I think it could work. So I don't know if Junior's going to be able to join back up. I don't even know. Turn my Twitch down. Oh shit. Nice, alright. Good for him. He's gonna go relax. That's good. I'm glad Junior's okay. I'm seeing you in the chat here, my man. Yeah. So, what's up, new Twitch viewer? Say hello. We were just finished running through Red Wire. What's up, people on Instagram? I think Poncho joined. What's up, man? If you're still here. Yeah, I'm just talking about Red Wire. I was running through all of the ideas I had for it. It's just like a Into the Wild meets Death Stranding. Not as crazy as Death Stranding. It's more of a like somber nature documentary. Death Stranding is sort of the vibe I'm going for. So you can sort of imagine like if you're what's a good Apocalypto. That's a great one. Apocalypto, Death Stranding, and very primal, not a lot of language, very keen on like expressions and good acting and setting the scene and telling a story. So that's Red Wire. I don't know if I'm going to move on. I think I am going to move on to Chemical Warfare. But let me know, people watching, if you have any questions about this pitch before I move on. What do you think? The costumes would be cool. Everyone's got to have a unique sci-fi helmet or mask. And in the Tokyo Ghoul way, everyone's got to have a cool gimmick. But yeah, I think I'm going to switch over to Chemical Warfare. Chemical Warfare. Chemical Warfare. Chemical Warfare. I'm going to switch backgrounds because we're switching movies. Sector 12 is pretty cool. Night City. Last Person on Earth. This should be fine. Yeah, this works. All right, let me pull up my Chemical Warfare assets. Give me a second, you guys. It's 11:11. Make a wish. Should I play? No, I won't. JK, I'm not gonna do that. All right. Everyone, settle in. We're switching to pitch number 2. Let me pull up a Twitch in a different monitor so I can see if anyone wants to leave a comment. All right. So, the first one was all about. Let me turn the music on. Actually, let's get a little ambience. Yeah. Okay. So that last one we just did, Red Wire, was all about post-apocalyptic, post-urban, post-human society. This is dystopian, very urban, tons of people. Imagine you're in San Antonio 40 years from now when there's quadruple the amount of people and quadruple the amount of shit and misery that you have to go through. So in this world of shit and misery comes chemical warfare, which is going to be just a fucking straight up slasher, no frills, just a fucking movie about a monster that's ripping and annihilating through everything that comes within its path or crosses its path. The morals will be very ambiguous, if any, and the main goal is to rip something from the headlines and make a slasher out of it. So, I'll get my notes pulled up in a second, and we'll run through it. Shout out to everyone who followed me today on Instagram. I appreciate it. Pull up my notes. Alright. This one's pretty simple. I called it chemical warfare. I couldn't decide if I wanted to call it chemical warfare or Exterminator X. But I think chemical warfare as a name of a movie is just so much cooler, and then Exterminator X would be the character. Much like how Halloween isn't called Michael Myers, it's called Halloween. So, I'm gonna get fucking ready for this one. Alright. I'm gonna do this one to my 70s guy. 70s film trailer guy voice. Exterminator X. Brain dead man in a coma turned into a killing machine after having caveman DNA grafted to his genome. That was probably hard to understand, because even I don't understand myself when I talk like this. Let me do that again. Normal voice. So it's a brain dead man in a coma is turned into a killing machine after having caveman DNA grafted to his genome. So as we all know, they brought the dire wolf back, and I watched so many clips on that shit because I find it genuinely very cool and interesting. But the whole scientific quandary of what is okay to do, I feel like is coming back, and I want to capitalize on that. That fucking panic and fear people have of, you know, messing with DNA or playing God as a scientist. So this movie is about two scientists. Well, the movie is about the thing the scientists create, but it starts off with two scientists being questioned for their role in a off-the-books city project. And the project was creating exterminator, black ops, secret police, murderers, basically death squads, that would roam the streets cleansing the urban decay, as the politicians would call it. So the plan, because they were losing so many cops, because the amount of money it costs to repair the damage done by the quote-unquote dregs of society, as the politicians would call them, the powers that be and the oligarchs of the city decided to institute roaming death squads. But instead of using living police, they decided they wanted something better. And these two scientists pitched a project to these rich, affluent guys, and the rich, affluent oligarchs that run this neo-cyberpunk city, low-budget cyberpunk city. They pitched to him that they're going to make a sort of brainless killing machine, something that wouldn't have a conscience, that would only operate as directed, that would be superior in strength and versatility and resiliency, and would even have resilience to chemical and biological agents that humans wouldn't. That was their pitch to these funders. And the oligarchs of the city decide that they want a death squad, they want this ultimate murder machine, and they commission these scientists to create and deliver on their project. But before it could come to fruition, the scientists had to create it, and they had to make this homunculus monster, this modern Frankenstein's monster. So their plan is to take a man who is brain dead and graft DNA from harvested Neanderthal caveman DNA and graft it to his genome and try to reawaken him as a sort of humanoid dog on a leash, or a humanoid attack dog, or a undead killing machine, whatever you want to put it. But they are successful in grafting the DNA to the comatose man, and not too long after the grafting process is successful, the creature awakens, kills its main creator, and leaves the facility. The creator had armed it and trained it in its first days. Like, before it killed its creator, the creator taught it how to kill, but it didn't really, its programming wasn't fully seeped in. It was meant to target like very specific people that the city didn't want anymore, people that cost money, but it ended up targeting anyone that crossed paths with it or crossed paths with its domains. And its domains became more and more like almost like a dragon. This thing took over different tunnels and underpasses, and suddenly there was this sort of macabre death route, like a serpent making its way through the city, that if you were unlucky enough to find yourself in the route of, you would get gobbled up. And before long, it wasn't just poor street-dwelling people that were getting absorbed by this menace. Before long, it was businessmen who walked down the wrong alley, rich, affluent drug dealers who were dealing at the wrong time of day and found themselves in the path of the exterminator. And so the whole movie would be basically this, I would say, detective or police authority, or I don't even know who would even give a shit in this world, but I would say probably some kind of a do-gooder is trying to uncover what the fuck is going on and why, no matter what time of day or like almost like clockwork, you can plan out this trail of bodies that will happen every day. And the exterminator takes very specific routes, leaving very specific patterns, and the person on the trail of it would be led down this, old school slasher route of finding dead bodies. And in the movie we would see like how they got killed, and we would have people who were getting cornered by this, unstoppable force. So it would be like a big guy in a gas mask thing like this, who walks around with the gassing agent and just fucking obliterates people. It's like a combination of sarin gas and mustard gas and fucking tear gas. It basically, once it hits contact with your skin, causes you to start convulsing and puking blood, and you can't breathe. And because this thing operates as a fucking animal, basically, it just keeps going, and it's sort of like almost like an urban dragon. And so the movie would be about the do-gooders and the people being targeted by this urban dragon, like I just called him, this Exterminator X. It would just be a straight slasher, people trying to survive while he picks them off one by one, and then you end the movie with the one person who's barely alive to tell the tale, if that. Because it could also end in a 70s sci-fi way where there's no hope and everyone's dead. So this is another one that I just really like. This is the most recent one I've come up with, and I really glommed onto this idea of just like a fucking brute force, Leatherface, Michael Myers, like unstoppable force, but that uses something like gas, where it's like there's no real running away. You're not going to punch through him. You're not going to go through him. You're not going to go punch him in the face because he'll, put his fist through your head. But if you try to run away, he'll just engulf you in his poisonous gas. So that's Chemical Warfare. That's sort of the base pitch. It's a slasher. It's I have my elevator pitch line, I think. Okay, I don't have like the it's the this means this, but if I were to say it was, I would say it's like Chemical Warfare is like all of those like Agent Orange, fear of dying, of chemical warfare, like all of those fears tied into a figure. And like I think I really put it well when I said like this guy's an urban dragon and there's no stopping him. And it's, what have we done with science? It's all of the classic sci-fi horror tropes, and ultimately at the end of the day you get to see a guy in a sick suit going around just fucking turning people into puddles of goo. And yeah, that's Chemical Warfare. Let's go through some of these pictures so I can talk about the design and what I was thinking. On Amazon they have these cheap black rain slicks that are like full body onesies, so I was thinking like that would definitely be a good base, and then from there just adding straps. And I really like this one. I love this gun design, and I think I can build something like this. I already took a toy gun and spray painted it to give me the shape I wanted, and I think I could take that shape and sort of build off of it into something like this. But I'm picturing like people in the middle of an underground show just having a ball, doing their thing, and then they come across this fucking guy and there's no fucking running. And I think the silhouette, just the black faceless silhouette with the fucking gas mask and the gun. Obviously I haven't written this yet, so I would really like hammer in the story of it all, but that's the basic premise. Is just, yeah, like this these two scientists are paid by a bunch of rich people to make a killing machine. The killing machine goes rogue. The scientist who made it is dead or missing, and we're trying to figure out what the fuck is going on while it tears through people. You know, not it's very cliche, but also just like simple meat and potatoes slasher. We know who's doing the killing. How are we gonna stop him? What does he want? All that sort of shit. Some more images. Yeah, it's just like, I love the idea of techwear and straps and pouches and spray painting a lunchbox green and gluing it to some pants. Like, this is the, I think, where I would really start to push my ability when it comes to costume making, because I would want a lot of it to look industrial and semi-professional. But I'm imagining this silhouette coming down a fucking concrete hallway full of fucking graffiti, and there's a band playing in the hallway, and there's people screaming and running, and then this guy is just filling the air with just this poisonous gas that's going around. And I can use a combination of practical and simulations and just do whatever I need to get the sort of awesome, you know, suffocating shots and whatnot. Yeah, I even had some more like mutated, fucked up designs. So it'd be somewhere in between like this biodiesel, biopunk, just like fucked up weird combo of both. Something in between the all black Rain Slicker and then this like Burning Man, Rob Zombie, Maniac. Like, I think a perfect marriage of that would just be so fucking sick. These sort of like biodiesel, biomechanical men. Like, he's a biomechanical man. Like, that's really what I want it to be. Yeah, just something really cryptic and dark. This is when I told it to be a caveman, but I actually don't hate this sort of like, you know, things he was outfitted with because they wanted him to go kill, but then also the little bones. And like, I love the way that the AI put like these little caveman aesthetics in here, and I think that would be really cool to have him have these like primordial pre-man instincts. And for as far as like a comparison movie, I was thinking something like Maniac Cop, but with the goop and the gore and the like nastiness of a street trash. So it would be really like obvious, like a brute force tearing through everything, but then you'd also have the like body horror and shock and just goopy wetness of a street trash. Here's another like Bigfoot biohuman, but again, like, I think I could make gloves like this, or just add little accents within all of the like just pure black techwear, raincoat, brutalist look. I think somewhere in between would just be like perfect. I'm thinking if I could learn how, making some kind of latex skin gas mask like this would be really amazing. And it would sell. Like, this is the gun design I like the most that I've seen. I'd probably make it bigger because it doesn't make sense as like a weird pistol like this, but like the hosed barrel and stuff like this is just exactly what I'm trying to go for. Another like the details I'm going for. Making little canteens wrapped in you know, green leather that's been mutated by the chemicals that the thing is the exterminator is using. So that I'm going to yawn. This was a photo that I like grabbed me and really hooked me on all of this because I searched chemical. I don't know if this is from a movie. I don't know if this is a test. I don't know if this is real. But I thought this image was really like I'm looking for captivating. And I sort of based my whole, not my whole, but like this is the look that really got me spinning with the character design and got my brain spinning as to what it could be. And I do really like the bag over the face, like you're wearing a body bag look. So I do want to incorporate some of the design elements from this for sure. But I think that's the last one for Chemical Warfare. I can click through these real fast one more time. Let's see if there's anything I wanted to talk about. Hello, new Twitch viewer. Feel free to chat. Feel free to say what's up. What's up, Chi? You still at your mom's? You still relaxing? Oh. So yeah, that would be this one. I think I would try and get some heavier bands to do some music with and for this. It's very like, in my opinion, if the last movie's genre was sort of Midwest emo and like desolate ambient music, this one would definitely be metal and industrial. Some death metal in there. That's good. I'm happy you're calm. Whew. So yeah, that's Chemical Warfare. So far we have survivalist, post-apocalyptic, borderline nature movie, nature/survivalist movie, pure slasher, and then I think this last one is gonna be the most obvious, but it's one I've been working on a long time. It's one I've done like in-universe things on already. So let me pull up a B-roll for this real quick. so that's ready. All right. This is the last one. The Phantom of the Alamo. This is like a continuation of my last short film. It's pretty much just horror. It's a straight up horror movie. It's a haunting. It's ghoulish. It's going to have analog footage in it and punk bands and people being sliced up by me in a mask. So, let me pull up my pitch for this one. So, the pitch for Phantom of the Alamo is Phantom of the Opera meets The Ring with more analog VHS shit mixed in for good measure. So, a do-it-yourself zine called Alamo Underground gets a hold of a local boogeyman's analog VHS collection. They have sort of they do one of those like auctions from a storage unit, and the magazine buys it, and he puts it out to the writers like, hey, who wants to fucking do this story? And this writer in particular says, I want to do the story. And they end up watching all of these old tapes that were part of the warehouse purchase, and 99% of them are innocuous. Some of them are porn, some of them are old Playboy stuff, some of them are movies. It's all pretty clearly labeled, all pretty straightforward, but there is a stack of 10 blank ones, and of the 10 blank ones, there's 2 that are not just blank. And of the 2 that are not blank, one of them is a recording of a specific street in San Antonio security footage. It's just a security loop from 35 years ago. There's nothing particularly interesting about it at first glance. The second one is this haunted tape, which contains my short film, Do Wallflowers Wilt on it. And she watches that haunted tape and writes a story about how it is this really interesting piece of like as San Antonio lore, and how the basically how the like sorry, I lost my train of thought. It's a piece of San Antonio lore. So she writes a whole thing about how this boogeyman maybe preyed on victims in San Antonio. Maybe he was just some analog creep who had a lot of VHS tapes and liked to make creepy videos. Maybe he was just a shit poster TikToker before that existed. Like, she has all of these theories that she puts in her article, and the article blows up. They have a lot of hits on it, and it was the cover story. So they have like one of their guys who's part of the magazine like dress up like the Phantom, and they make this whole character of the Phantom of the Alamo and make the whole magazine titled Phantom of the Alamo because the editor of the paper like sees something that could sell here, and they take little stills from the tape and put them in the magazine, and they get a written out description of the things he's saying and the thing. So it's sort of like everything Phantom of the Alamo issue. And this writer who, after publishing the story and getting a lot of press with the whole city and becoming a little darling of all the scenes, getting shouts out at like local indie shows, and getting offers to do books and all sorts of things. Her career is blowing up, and she's visited by someone she believes to be a fan or someone with an opportunity, but is actually a survivor of the person from the tapes. And an older woman who comes up to her recalls being tortured and brainwashed for the Phantom for 3 days straight in the year 2000. And, this is 25 years ago, so the woman would have been like 38, but now she's, in her 50s. She's not old by any stretch, but she's certainly like a different generation than the writer. And she explains how she didn't know how she got there and she didn't know how she left, but how much it was real, and no one believed she told them what happened until they found a tape on her coffee table a few days later containing the whole incident. And she gives the writer, who watches the tape, and while she's watching the tape, she realizes all of the mocking things she said about him, all of the jokes and sort of exploitation of what she thought was just a weirdo in a costume and a funny tape she found of him. And she finds out that this person is very much like real and very much like a dangerous, violent person who really existed at one point or another. And the scariest part is when she finishes talking to this older woman, she asked the older woman, "Who did this to you?" The woman had no idea. And when she asked about like what the cops did about it, the woman had no idea. And so the movie is basically about this writer trying to figure out who the fuck this guy was, what happened to him, was he a real serial killer? And she becomes so enwrapped in this story that she begins to hallucinate, getting phone calls from him. She begins to hallucinate, watching the blank tapes and seeing things on them. And we're not sure what's real anymore, if the Phantom is real and haunting her, or if she's just out of her fucking mind. And I don't know where I want it to end yet, but I think the movie would be very open-ended, and it would sort of do all the things I want to do to Phantom of the Opera that bother me about that sort of mentor-mentee relationship that Christine and the Phantom have, while also having this like haunting via watching the tape elements like The Ring. So it's pretty straightforward, like two elements from movies I really like that I'm going to combine and make into that. And I already have sort of a look and aesthetic defined for the Phantom because I used that character in another short film. So I can run through these a little bit. These were ones I made back before I made the short film and solidified what I was going for. So when I made these, I was really keyed into the character of the person who would do this, like record themselves and make little videos about giving their manifestos, and then eventually it became this very like dark story. And if you've seen my short film, you know that it's very fucked up and creepy and dark, as you can imagine. And so the feature would basically be a blending of those analog styles with the reality of, and it would be, a cleaner presentation of like a reality where this woman who's writing for this zine gets caught up in her own story and is wrapped down the rabbit hole of, chasing this ghost and maybe recreating it, maybe reenacting the crimes herself. Maybe she's being haunted by it, being framed by the ghost. We don't really know. And I think that's the whole point, is like It's sort of a little bit about serial killer worship. It's a little bit about being obsessed with a subject matter as a writer or an artist or any kind. Like, you just get obsessed by a subject matter and it takes over your whole existence and you can't think about anything else. Also with that Phantom of the Opera element of being haunted by a ghost. So that's like obsessed with you in particular. So that's Phantom of the Alamo. And the paper would be called Alamo Underground. So that's how you get the name. And there would be a lot of cool like tie-in merch and zines you can make that are in universe. So Phantom of the Alamo would be sort of a punk horror movie, a DIY punk horror. Chemical Warfare would be a underground slasher, straightforward slasher, and then Red Wire, you have the like nature documentary meets Urban Decay, Death Stranding, Walking Simulator. So those are basically the three pitches. I really want to, at some point, chop up this stream and give people a chance to vote on it and chance to see the three pitches in like an edited down, cohesive explanation. And I'm sure I'll do that as time goes on. But for the next 3 or 4 episodes, I really want to like explore these three ideas. Maybe take 1 week and attack each idea as its own pitch and its own outline, and figure out which one people want to see. If people want to see fucking Red Wire, if they want to see Chemical Warfare, if they want to work on any of these, whatever one people are like the most eager to see or see me work on, that's the one I'm going to like gravitate towards. But for the next month or so, I want to really like flesh out these ideas and get feedback and see what people are interested in. And this was a fun live stream, just like getting to flesh out all these ideas. I'm disappointed Junior wasn't here to like add his and react to it, but also it's not his fault. His power went out. What are you going to do? But I think I'm going to end it a little early. We're hitting the 2-hour mark. I don't want to just stream to stream, so I think I'm going to call it a night. I hope you guys have a happy Easter. I really appreciate everybody watching. And hopefully I'll see you guys soon. Or I guess I'll definitely see you next Wednesday, but I'm going to come back next Wednesday with even more things made and even more exciting things down the pike. Yeah. Basin. Backin. I don't know what Junior's trying to say. But I'm going to stop the Instagram live. Okay, I'm going to turn off this OBS. Turn all that off. Alright. Thanks a lot, Twitch. Thanks, everybody.